Hello, I'm Steve.
And I'm Tracy.
And we still are the Partners at War. Yes, it's been the longest time in between filmings that we've had since we started this channel. Last year we had a gap, and it was kind of understandable because Tracy's a teacher, I'm a school administrator, and COVID definitely got in the way.
It did. It cut into our free time.
But that's not the reason why we haven't been filming recently. What is the reason we haven't been filming?
We have been playing AOS.
A whole lot.
Yes, a lot of AOS.
Ever since COVID kind of went away and tournaments opened up, we've taken every advantage that there is to travel, to go play, to be around people, to have the fun of this game, which we're always encouraging tournament play because that's really where the fun of this game comes out. Not about the competitive side, but what is it about? Why do you love going to tournaments?
Oh my gosh, we saw so many of our friends over and over and over again, and it really was just a chance to bond with people again and see them and catch up and play new armies. It was really neat.
It's such a great community. We've been to Wisconsin 3 times.
Yep.
Milwaukee twice, and Lake Geneva. Indianapolis twice. St. Louis a couple times.
Yeah.
Local
tournament.
games. And the one in Collinsville. That was a 2-day.
Yes.
The Chicago area. Yep. And Atlantic City for the ACO.
We did.
Absolutely. Yeah. Martin put on a great event at the ACO. What a good group of people. And then there was another tournament we went to in New Orleans. What was that?
That was the U.S. Open, which was such a nice experience. I'm so glad that we did that.
It was a great experience. It was tremendously well run. Such a good group of people. And we look forward now to the LVO and Adepticon and everything else coming up in the future. Go if you can. And if you do, say hi. We'd love to see people that are watching the show, and we love to meet them. Since then, I was running Idneth a lot early on in that, doing pretty well. 3.0 came out, and I thought I would try to get back to the Sylvaneth roots and take Alarielle out. Worst 2 tournaments I've ever performed in. 1-4 and a 1-3-1. It was bad. And so then I decided right before the Open, I'll just give Ironjawz a try, and did pretty well at the Open with them. So I've done a couple since then. And Tracy, you started with what?
Well, early in the summer, I was still playing Daughters of Cain. I had brought that back out with the new Morathi. I thought that'd be awesome. I actually found more success without Morathi for my playstyle than with Morathi. I just was not aggressive enough with her, and I always hated to lose 2 models instead of 1. But some people are doing amazing with her, so it just was not my playstyle. So I decided to go with Soulblight Gravelords. I had played FEC previously, and I really loved the whole bring back thing. So I thought Death would be maybe more my style, and I love them. Love Soulblight Gravelords, although I am still learning them because they are very complex.
It is a tough army to learn to master, and so many different builds.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So many different ways to play it. Ironjawz, kind of the exact opposite. Only a couple ways. Put as many Gore Gruntas as you can on the table. Ironjawz players, enjoy this while it remains, because we all know those points are going up.
Oh my gosh,
and,
yes.
But like, I still had 10 Ardboys in my list when we went to the Open. You don't do that. That was just wasted points compared to Gore Gruntas.
I actually learned at the Open also that if I had 1 unit of Graveguard, then 2 must be better. So yeah, you just kind of tweak
and you get better. And I think something you hit on there, all listeners and people especially new to the game need to understand, that because somebody can take a particular list or a unit or an army and do well with it, doesn't necessarily mean that you can.
Right.
You were having a problem finding out how to play Morathi. I could not figure out how to play the Warsong Revenant with Sylvaneth, and some other people are having tremendous success. I don't know if it just didn't match my style or something. So don't quit the game or get frustrated if you're not having success with something that some other people are. Maybe you just need to look at something different that fits your play style, your temperament, what you're looking for, whatever.
Right. And even those builds that you see online that's just, this is the winning list, it doesn't mean you're going to win with that, because it's really, that's a winning list because it fits that person's play style and because they have tweaked it to be exactly the way they want it.
They know the synergies so well, and it fits their style. So with that, we don't want to delay anymore. Let's get right into the game, and we are going to go with the Ironjawz versus
Soulblight Gravelords.
Fight! Here we have exactly 2,000 points of Bloodtooth's Ironjawz. Of course, my general is the Mega Boss. He has the command trait Mega Bossy, which is, you'll see how that plays in the hero phase. And he has the artifact Destroyer. 2 War Chanters, one with the Killa beat. He's got horns on the back. And the Fixin' beat, he does not. And I had enough points to throw in this nice little Madcap Shaman. Regular spell on his War Scroll allows individuals to get a buff versus missile attacks, which is great in this army. Of course, I like to have him to throw Mystic Shield on, but I picked the universal spell Levitate, hence the name of the list, If Pigs Could Fly. Mega Boss and a Maw Crusher. He has the shield as his weapon choice, so he loses 2 attacks, goes down to 7 attacks with his primary weapon, but he gets +1 to his save, which is wonderful. He has the mount trait Weirden, so he has a 4+ ward versus spells, and he has the artifact Amulet of Destiny, which I always forget to use.
And which I think will actually change at some point.
That might get a little nerf also. Everything else is Battle Line and Bloodtooths. Gore Gruntas are Battle Line and Bloodtooths. I have 2 units of 6 Gore Gruntas, one with Pig Choppas and one with Jagged Gore Hackas. Unit of 10 Brutes with Jagged Gore Hackas. And a unit of 3 Gore Gruntas with Pig Choppas. Hunters of the Heartland. 1, 2, 3. My big 3 units you cannot do a monstrous ability against. I also have Warlord, so I get the extra artifact in the command point.
This is 1,990 points of Soulblight Gravelords. I start out with Belladama Volga, who is my Virkos go-to. She has 2 spells that she gets to cast each turn, and I took Spirit Gale for her. Then I have Manfred von Karstein. He has the Decrepify spell. Then I have Radikar the Beast. Now, the 10 wolves next to him don't actually count as points. They come with him when I use a command point 1 time per game. So I included them there, but they actually are not part of my list.
As long as he doesn't die before you get to use that.
Which has happened. All right, then I have 2 Vampire Lords. This is the original one, and then over here I have the one from the Crimson Court. I have put her on a Vampire Lord size base just so that I could use her as a Vampire Lord as well. And then my general is the White King. He is my tax for taking Graveguard as battle line. To be able to count them as battle line, he has to be my general. And I took 2 units of 20 Graveguard and 1 unit of 10 Skellies or Death Rattle skeletons.
I want to highlight, they're good.
Which again is why I have 2 units of them.
Battalions?
Battalion, yes, I have Warlord, and I also have Command Entourage, the strategist version. I also have Hunters for the Heartland, and that is my 2 units here of Graveguard. Lastly, I have my Ravenix Gnashing Jaws. That is my endless spell.
And that's 1,990 points of Soulblight Virkos Dynasty.
Virkos Dynasty, yep.
Today we're going to be playing Power Struggle, page 28 of the 2021 General's Handbook. But before that, Dominic from Indianapolis, when we went to the Indy Storm Tournament, all of the tables had these wonderful modifiers around to turn it from the traditional 4x6 board into the 44x60 board. We purchased one from him, and he took it home and used his Circle City Laser company that we're going to link in the YouTube channel below, and made this custom Partners at War version. He makes these, and they also have all of your heroic actions, your monstrous rampages, and then places to score dice. What I really love about them is there are markers, like for 15 inches and 11 inches, so placing objectives are instantaneous.
Nice.
So Dominic, thank you very much. Told him that the first time we filmed, we'd definitely give him a shout out for this because he did not have to go to these extremes for us, and he did.
It was very
and
nice.
we love it. In Power Struggle, you score 1 victory point if you have controlled at least 1 objective for 2 of your consecutive turns. You score 1 victory point if you have controlled 2 or more objectives for 2 consecutive turns. But you do score 1 victory point if you control more objectives than your opponent. So you can score 1 objective immediately if you take more objectives than your opponent. And of course, you get 2 victory points for your battle tactic. But it is an interesting game with 5 objectives, and you have to hold objectives for a prolonged period of time to win.
And none of them are primary objectives. So.
And not one of the objectives is primary objectives. So at the beginning of turn 3, whoever goes second gets to remove one. Today you'll notice Tracy and I are playing with our brand new, custom-made Partners at War dice. We give 2 of these dice to whoever we play against in a tournament.
Yep.
And if you make a comment on our YouTube channel or a comment on our Facebook post of this video, we're going to take a random person from YouTube and a random person from Facebook and mail off 10 of these dice to you. So please like, subscribe, make a comment, and then follow us on Facebook. Tracy is the attacker and has chosen that side over there, and she has placed her grave site markers. I want to highlight when you have something huge like a Maw Crusher or a Lariel. This was originally made for a Lariel. I will bring a proxy base so I can use it, one, if it ever lands on a precarious position, so I don't have to put my model up there, but also I will often use it to make sure I've got enough space to place the Maw Crusher during deployment. Now, when you do that, it's pretty obvious where you're going to place him, but you can also leave several spots open. But I think everybody knows where the Maw Crusher is going to go in the middle anyway. But the last thing you want to do is put all these models in and then realize you don't have place to place the Maw Crusher. All right, we both had 9 drops.
Yes, and
you won the roll-off, so you finished first. Who are you letting go first? Now, this is a tough call.
This is a very tough call because I have played against Ironjawz several times.
The Maw Crusher can issue a command to 3 units. Mighty Destroyers will allow me to move up to 3 units in the hero phase. His Mega Bossy command trait allows him to issue the Mighty Destroyers even if it's already been issued. And he can move 2. That means 2 units in the hero phase. That means up to 5 units can do a full move in the hero phase. With their 9-inch move, that means that between the hero phase and the movement phase, they can move 18 inches and then charge. He can move 24 inches and then charge. Could be a reason why you walled back even further.
Okay, so I hope I have learned my lesson. I've played against Ironjawz quite a bit recently, and I know they move far. So if I go first, I just move up so it makes it easier for you to hit me.
That does happen.
So I'm going to try the strategy of staying back. I measured out 28 inches from as far as you could line up.
Which would be 18 inches with the Gorgruntas, a 10-inch charge. If I call the Wah, it would be a 9-inch charge. So you're still betting that I would fail most of those.
I'm hoping to survive. But otherwise, what will happen is I will move up, I will spread out to take a bunch of objectives, and then I will get decimated. And I am risking the fact that you will have all 5 objectives on your turn. In an effort to play a longer game, I am going to go ahead and let you go
because
first.
You have had it where you've gone up and Ironjawz have come in and
then they've just completely decimated my army.
It's a tough decision when you're playing against this army, whether to go first or let them go first.
Yes.
Interesting. But you're going to let me go first.
In the hopes that you will come close enough, I will survive, and then hopefully I will get to attack you twice with the back-to-back.
If you get the back-to-back, from my angle, yes, I would have liked to have gone first and moved up. Then me hit you, and if I got the back-to-back, it could be game over.
That would have slaughtered.
We did not mention what are our grand strategies.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Your grand strategy is?
Price sorcery.
Which makes sense with all
I
those
have 6
wizards.
leaders, and 5 of them are wizards.
Yes.
So.
Mine is hold the line, of course. Everything outside of a hero is battle line, and they're tough. It's been the easiest grand strategy to get. We are going to try a new kind of condensed version of filming when it comes to things like the hero phase. We're going to summarize it at the end. We'll stop when something major happened, such as I was trying to cast Mystic Shield on my Maw Crusher, and that's not happening. So little Madcap Shaman takes D3 mortal wounds, and he's done casting spells. So, and he once per game, he can eat a mushroom and cast 2 spells in a hero phase. So that could be a difference. If you get the back-to-back and he had Mystic Shield on him, that makes him a lot more defensible. So my new Partners of War dice didn't help me on that.
Help me!
Hero phase, turn 1 for the Ironjawz. I just went over how he bombed his spell substantially. I did take Ferocious Advance for my battle tactic, and of course I'm going to take these 3 small units right here. They will do the little run and get together, and I'll get my battle tactic. Heroic leadership. I rolled to get a command point by the Maw Crusher, and he failed. So that did not work out.
I rolled as well, and I did get one, so I put it on her, on my Vampire Lord.
On your Vampire Lord. The 2 War Chanters. Here is one of the most powerful things that Ironjawz have. And to be honest, I mean, give a little secret in fighting Ironjawz right here. And that is that if you have a missile unit, which you don't.
I don't have any missiles.
A lot of people target the Maw Crusher right away or the Gore Gruntas, but if it's early, take out the War Chanters if you can. Because each hero phase, they get to pick a unit, Ironjawz unit, within 15 inches, and they get to chant to them, and they get +1 to their damage characteristic until the next hero phase. So that means this entire unit of Gore Gruntas, both the Beasts and the Jagged Gore Hackas, are doing 2 damages a pop. And the same thing over here. 1 War Chanter here, 1 War Chanter there. That makes them very killy. So if you can kill the War Chanters, even with spells or anything else, do. That's my recommendation. And I know Ironjawz players are going, Steve, don't tell people that.
It's on the down
Stop
low.
it. It's on the down low. Shoot the big scary thing with a ton of different defenses. The Mega Boss on Maw Crusher did use the command ability Mighty Destroyers, which he is a totem, so that's an 18-inch range that he can use the command ability, and he can issue it on 3 separate units. He issued it on himself, and on the Mega Boss on foot, and on the Brutes. So in the hero phase, they got to make a move. 4 inches, 4 inches, and could go up to 12. I just wanted to move them a little bit forward. And that is the end of the hero phase. The War Chanter's ability to give out the +1 damage is an ability. It's not one of their beats. So this guy right here has the Fixin' beat. So during my hero phase, I rolled for it, and he was successful, and he healed the Madcap Shaman 1 wound with his Fixin' beat. Movement phase. Moved up, moved up. That's the marker for their +1 to their damage. They all ran next to each other, so I get my battle tactic. They moved up, their marker also. They moved once again.
Gotcha.
That is it. And of course, I have 1 shot in the entire army. He's got I have to look up, 8 or 9 inch bellow. Usually he's on top of people, so that's where it happens. Other than that, I don't have a shot, and I'm outside of charge range. So guess what? That is a very short turn 1.
That is a short turn 1.
Points. I do control more objectives than you control.
Yes.
So I get 1 point for that, and then I did get my battle tactic for 2 points.
So 3 points.
So 3 points. Let's go over the always lengthy Soulblight hero phase.
I do. I have a lot of spellcasters.
Zinch, Seraphim sometimes, and Soulblight. It's like, okay, how many more spells do you have? But what happened here?
All right, first I picked Ferocious Advance as my battle tactic, and I picked these 2 heroes and this unit of Graveguard.
All right.
They will all run and end up within 3 inches of each other.
We also each got a command point. I went back up to 2, and you're at 4.
4.
All right.
Yep. So then I started, for my heroic action, I failed. So I did not get the extra command point. I tried to do the heroic leadership.
Yes, I tried to do heroic recovery for my little guy here because I really don't need a command point right now. And I rolled boxcars, 2 paws. So when I wanted him to roll high, he rolled snake eyes. When I wanted him to roll low, he rolled those, so he didn't heal. These dice aren't doing me well, and he only has a 4 bravery. So his chances of healing weren't that great anymore.
Probably not.
So what was next in your hero phase?
All right, then I used a command point, so it took me back down to 3, so that Manfred could get his Vigor of Undeath. It's a command ability. Everything within 12 inches of him is +1 to hit, +1 to wound, and that lasts until my next hero phase.
+1 to hit, +1 to wound. Pretty awesome.
Yes. And then he didn't have anybody in range for any of his spells. Belladonna had both of her spells go off. She did Ravenic's Gnashing Jaws, which actually started here and then moved at the end of the hero phase. And then she also did Under a Killing Moon, which means that wholly within 12 inches of her, 6s, hit rolls of 6s turn into 2 hits instead of 1.
Whole lot of buffs.
Yeah, so then she got off Mystic Shield for Radikar over here, and this Vampire Lord over here got off Arcane Bolt. Other than that, I have no more spells.
And that was the end of your hero phase?
End of the hero phase.
All right. Movement phase.
So the best I could do really is get up to get these 2 objectives. That was my goal. I did run all these guys. Everybody rolled a 2 for their run. So we got within 6 inches of there, and they're all within 3 inches of each other, which gives me my battle tactic. I just moved Manfred over enough to give him everybody his buff over here. We ran over here and just got within 6 inches of this objective. When I put this out, I was kind of trying to hope to block, which that seems to be doing a good job. And then at the end of my movement phase, I was able to spend a command point to bring in the wolves here.
And you're going to try to use those also as a speed bump in case I go first to stop the Gorgrunts
Right,
here.
that is the whole idea.
And you're going to try to use those as a speed bump.
So I
try
did
to stop
use a command
over here.
point to run these guys 6.
So use a command point to get them out there. But that's all you're doing right there, correct?
Yeah, and since almost everybody ran, that's it. That's the end.
I want to highlight something else you did, though. You made sure to put Radagar in that middle of that big space there, and even twisted him to put his butt in there a little bit more, because you want to stop.
I was really worried about him coming over and landing right here.
So if you'd have cleared everybody else out and left it there, I could have potentially charged into there and done some damage against some heroes. And you stopped that from happening. So that's it for the movement phase. Now we go to shooting phase, and you don't have any shots, correct?
Right.
But the charge phase, you're not going to charge.
Nope.
But your combat phase,
I am going to do something in my combat phase, even though we are not in combat. The Vampire Lord, either one of these, can use a command ability to give a unit wholly within 12 inches of them +1 to their attacks. And it's good until my next hero phase. So I'm going to spend my last command point, and I'm going to use it over here to give these guys +1 attack.
so they're now at +1 attack.
Right.
If I win priority, you can do it again in that combat phase, and they
Yes.
get +2 attacks.
Yes, or I can do it over here and give these guys +1.
Or you can give them +1. Now, in the situation where you go first and I get the back-to-back, you could have done it 3 times.
I can have, yes.
And they can get
total of
+3. Wow. Even though Tracy is controlling 2 objectives, you have to control them for 2 turns to have them any points. So she doesn't get any points there. You did Ferocious Advance.
Yes.
You got it for 2 points, and that is it.
Yep,
2
2
points.
to
So
3.
at the end of first turn, it's 3-2. We have to film the roll-off.
I always get nervous on the roll-off. Ooh, it's
You win
me.
That is a tough,
That is-
tough call.
I'm not close enough to ensure that I'm going to be able to engage you this turn, but I can't give it to you because you can get to me.
But you've got your barricades in place. You can move him at the bottom of the hero phase.
Yeah, I think I have to let you go first.
Are you going to?
Yes.
Okay, I will tell you I was going to let you go first.
Okay.
And the reason I was going to let you go first is I was going to force you to have to come out. The problem, honestly, is that if I go first, there's a chance I might not move because I have 3 objectives.
Which
I can
gives
just-
you the point.
I can just score up points
Yes.
and force you to come out. That's the bad thing about this situation right now. And Ironjawz players don't always think I just have to go in and rush and rush and rush. I'm commanding the tabletop right now. You have to come out of your shell,
Yes.
or I'm just going to win the game on points.
And all I have up front are wimpy little things that were supposed to be speed bumps.
Correct.
That they're not going to be able to do damage really to your...
The game's not looking good for you right now, not based around the old Ironjawz killing. It's that I'm commanding the tabletop,
Right.
and you're going to have to come out.
Which was one of the negatives to letting you go first.
Correct. For those people who've played Sons of Behemoth in tournaments, they run up, get on objectives, kick them back, and then make you chase them the whole game, and they just win on points. It's not just the kill the ability, it's about points. I think this is really set up for me well right now. By me going first, I'm going to get that one for 2 turns, that one for 2 turns, and that one for 2 turns. So I'll get 3 points, plus Monstrous take over my battle tactic. I'll get 5 points, and I'll basically just say, come out of your shell, and I'll sit here the whole game, and you'll be behind points the whole game.
And I will probably not be able to recover points.
Correct, and that's a boring game. So we don't want to showcase that, but we do want to highlight that for people who are watching it, who are competitive, and saying, Steve, why did you do what you're going to do? That's one way to play. That would probably win me the game, no problem. I want to showcase what these guys can do with calling the WAH, so I'm going to go exactly opposite, and just for fun, I'm going to push everything forward and let's roll some dice.
All right.
All right, in the hero phase, I choose Broken Ranks, that I will kill that unit. That's a battle line unit.
Okay.
I use the extra CP from the Warlord Battalion to go to 3 CPs. For the heroic action, I tried heroic leadership to get a CP for the Maw Crusher, and I failed.
I also failed for heroic leadership.
All right. Then the fix and beat, trying to heal him again. I rolled a 1, so the beat did not go off. He kind of bungled the drums a little bit and missed the beat a little bit, and it did not work. Mystic Shield, cast it on the Maw Crusher. He rolled a 9 to cast, and you rolled a 9 to try to unbind, so it does go off. So the Maw Crusher has Mystic Shield. The War Chanters, before I used Mighty Destroyers and before they moved, so they were within 15 inches, the War Chanter put that +1 damage back on that unit of Gore-Gruntas, and this War Chanter put it back on this unit of Gore-Gruntas. And then I used one of my command points, going down to 2. The Maw Crusher used Mighty Destroyers, so 3 units within 18 inches of him got to move. This unit of Gore-Grunters moved up 9 inches, and these brutes and my Mega Boss on foot moved up 4 inches. And that was the end of the hero phase, so now you get to move that thing, correct?
Right, yes.
Robinix gnashing or mashing?
Gnashing.
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 Gnashing Jaws, you roll 3 dice 6 to move it, and you rolled 12.
I did.
And then he went 12 inches, touched them, and moved back to get in the way to provide a safety barricade versus the Gore-Gruntas and your Crypt Guard.
Yes.
Smart move. And then you roll the number of dice equal to your movement roll.
Right.
12 dice, and every 6 is a mortal wound.
Yes.
So the Gore-Gruntas took 3 mortal wounds. This guy has 2 wounds left.
Yes.
We count remaining. I know it's more popular to count wounds taken. We've tried to change, and we mess up anytime we try to change. We get confused. So as long as you're consistent. We do acknowledge, though, a lot of people do count it differently, but to highlight, we count remaining wounds. Movement phase. Those Gore-Gruntas moved up. Tracy spent a command point to redeploy.
Yes.
And move those. She only rolled a 2. My redeploy rolls are always horrible. But let me highlight. I think to be the next level competitive player, understanding when to use redeploy is critical in winning many games. But at least she was able to wrap more around her heroes to protect them more in the event of a charge from the Gore-Gruntas around the backside.
And I also was able to move them up
and
so I have more in combat range.
So you get more models in when you fight. Moving up outside of 3 inches, outside of 3 inches, outside of 4 inches, previously measured from the very beginning. I knew they were going to end up 4 inches away. They moved up in the middle, and these guys just kind of ran up. And that is it. Shooting phase, I'm going to have a shot right here. Maw Crusher bellowed into those dire wolves. 8-inch range, 4 attacks, a 2 to hit, 3 to wound, -1, 1 damage. I failed 1 wound, hit with 2. You had a 6+ save, you failed.
Right.
And then you had a 6+ shrug off, because why in death?
Deathless minions, as long as you are wholly within 12 inches of a hero or wholly within 12 inches of a grave site, you get a shrug.
And you failed those also. So 1 wolf died. It's that time.
What time is it?
Once per battle. As long as your general is on the tabletop. I did have somebody kill the general. Archeon against Brendan killed the general right away, and I could not call the WAH the entire game.
Yes.
Last time we had an orc video, I said WOG, and boy, did I take heat from many of our European people. It is the WAH. We got that. So I'm going to call the WAH at the beginning of the charge phase. All of the models in my entire army are going to get +1 to charge, and they're going to get their rend increased by 1. So it is time for an Orc WAH! Brutes rolled a 6. I get +1 in the charge, so a 7-inch charge. One of them was able to get into the Graveguard in the back. One reason that I want to do that, Brutes have this wonderful ability that if they are in combat with a unit that is a wound characteristic of 1, That unit doesn't count any models towards an objective. That is a brute ability, so I wanted to get one back there into combat with that unit. The rest of them charged in there. Gore-gruntas easily made it. 3 of them got in. I did roll, that was 3 mortal wounds, and you did not Deathless Minion save any of them, so 3 of the skeletons died. Maw Crusher got in here on the wolves, and I rolled a 7. 3 of them were able to get within 1 inch of that unit, and I was able to do 3 mortal wounds, and you did save 1.
Yes.
So 2 of those died. At the end of the charge phase, the Maw Crusher is going to stomp that unit of dire wolves. He has the destructive bulk ability that when he carries out a stomp ability, you look at the chart, right now it is 3 extra mortal wounds on the damage from the stomp. So did he successfully stomp? He did not.
Oh.
So never mind. He tapped. Just kind of he didn't stomp.
He patted.
He patted. Manfred's a chicken.
You know, George says that too. I call him a strategist.
At the beginning of the combat phase, Manfred can just go poof.
If he's within 3 inches
If he's
of an
within
enemy.
3, and
Which
he
he was.
was just within 3.
So that means he can move anywhere on the board.
It was very important because if the brutes were to kill the skeletons, for 1, under Smashin' and Bashin', the Ironjawz ability, if I kill a unit in combat, I get to pick another unit to go with. I could have gone with the Gore-gruntas.
Right, and he was sitting there within 3 inches.
Since the Gore-gruntas charged, they get to pile in 3 inches. He was just in 3 inches. They would have gotten in and been able to attack him, doing 2 damage a pop.
Yes.
And at -1 rend.
Yes.
-2 rend right now.
An additional, yes.
Because there's an additional rend. So yes, that was a good move just to pop him back, but leave him within the
His
bubbles.
buff range, yeah.
His kill-a-beat is picking a unit within 12 inches, and I'm +1 to hit. He's outside of range of all the other units. So his kill-a-beat, no matter how hard he's drumming, it's not making any difference. Oh, stop. Wait a minute. Tracy realized when he poofs and relands, he has to be outside of 9 inches. There was no way he could have been outside of 9 inches and still buffed this group. He moved over there, we measured it, he is outside of 9, and he can still buff that group over there.
One of the ways I like to use Manfred and that ability of coming out of combat is to take back objectives that have been left.
That I left open back here?
Yeah, 2 of them that you have just sitting there. The problem is that I have to sit there for 2 turns, and I don't want him to be out of any kind of benefit range for 2 whole turns.
And you could take 1 and stop me from having it for 2 turns in a row.
Yeah.
But I would have another
have
2
the 2.
that I would have had for 2 turns in a row, so it would not take a point away from me. The start of combat phase, the Maw Crusher used all-out attack. And because he's a totem, that's an 18-inch range, he can assign to 3 separate units. So he gave it to, we measured the 18-inch bubble, the brutes, himself, and those Gore-gruntas over there.
Yes.
With the all-out attack, the first 5 guys, this group of 6 went into the skeletons. The other group are going into those skeletons, which we have not rolled those yet. They're jagged gore hackas. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. 3 attacks apiece, hitting on 3 normally, hitting on 2 because all-out attack. I only had 1 miss, and then wounding on a 3. Those didn't wound. Those wounded.
It was 8 of them.
8 of them, -3 rend, because I called the wah.
Right.
They couldn't save, and you did not roll any deathless
1.
minions.
But I only had 7 guys left,
Okay.
so 7 still died.
So 7 died, so that unit is gone.
Yes.
Now we'll roll with the other group attacking into that group of Graveguard.
Yep.
The wonderful thing, a little bit of sarcastic in that thing about brutes, is all the different weapons. So I attacked with the 2 jagged gore hackers first, 3 attacks apiece. I missed with 1. I didn't wound with 2. That was 3 wounds at -3 rend. You did have 1 deathless minion, so 2 guys died.
2 dice.
Jagged gore hacker, 3 attacks, normally hitting on 4s, but 3s because of all-out attack.
Right.
2 missed, 1 went through. It did wound. That was 2 damage. And you did not deathless minions, so
Nope.
those 2 died. And now just the last guy is the boss with his boss claw. The boss claw has 4 attacks, normally hitting on 4s, now on 3s. I missed 1. I did not wound with 1. 2 went through. -2 rend, you did not save, or Deathless Minion, 2 damage each, so 4 more are dead.
Yep.
All right, so the brutes are done, but they did kill the unit of skeletons. And the minute, under Smash and Bashin', the minute they kill a unit, I get to pick another unit to fight in the combat phase.
Yes.
And I am going to pick I'm hoping to kill another unit. This is a tough call, because can he kill 9 wolves? That's 18 wounds.
Right.
That's a long haul. So I am going to go over with the Gore Gruntas. I piled them in, but you have to maintain the cohesion. Therefore, these are within 1 inch of 2 models. But that means that this guy's pig is not going to be able to attack.
Right.
This is the advantage of the Jagged Gore Hack, is they have a 2-inch range. But they lose an attack compared to the Pig Iron Choppas. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That guy's not going to get to attack at all with the leader. We're going to go through all the dice rolls on this to kind of show you what Gore Gruntas can do. Take a little bit of time to show that. Nice little dice box that we got from the Open in New Orleans, correct?
We did, yep.
Each of us got one in the swag bag. So 3 attacks apiece. The swag bag is something anybody could purchase, not because we're partners at war, but we're not getting you that swag at all. So 3 attacks apiece plus 1 for the leader, normally hitting on 3s, but they're all out of attack, so hitting on 2s. Were you going to do something? I thought you told me.
I did. I spent the
command point
and all out defense to them.
So they are all out defense. All those hit. They're wounding on a 3. Ooh. Not a good roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is -3 rend.
Right, I can't save.
You can't save on that. You went all out defense because the pigs will only be -2 rend and you'll still get a save. But with the War Chanter's add-on, that's 12 damage. 12 Deathless Minions.
10.
Save 2, so 10 are dead. Want to highlight that the Jagged Gore Haka in the book is only -1 rend. In the update, the errata, they just changed that to -2 rend.
Right, because they needed that.
Because they needed that?
Because they needed that.
Yeah. Without it, there was no doubt you were taking the Pig Iron Choppa. But now 4 attacks apiece for the pigs themselves. These are normally hitting on 3s. They're now hitting on 2s. They are wounding on 3s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 at only -1 rend. So you have a 5+ save.
Oh, I thought they were -2.
No, they're base flat no rend on the pigs. With the wall, they're -1 rend.
So 5s.
So you saved on 5s.
Okay. And how many each?
They're 2 damage each, though, with the War Chanter.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more. That's 19. I only had 18, so that's the unit.
That's the unit. Because I killed a unit, I get to pick another unit under Smash and Bash, and the Maw Crusher is going to go into the Dire Wolves. Okay, the Maw Crusher has 7 attacks with his Boss Choppa and Rip Tooth Fists. Once again, he's the 3rd unit that is at all-out attack, so these normally hit on a 3, they're now hitting on a 2. 6 of those hit. Wounding on a 3. All of those wound, and that is -2 rend.
Okay, can't save.
Can't save. Those are 2 damage apiece, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that's 12 damage. Deathless Minions.
Saved 1.
So 11
1,
damage.
2, 3, 4, 5.5 die.
That Maw Crusher's Mighty Fists and his tail that he's swinging around, 8 attacks, normally hitting on 3s, now hitting on 2s. 2 miss. Wounding on 3s. There's 4, and this will be at -3 rend. You cannot save. So that is 3 damage apiece. That's 12 damage.
So they're dead.
And the last unit, since they charged, they are able to pile in. We might have lost some of this on the recording. 2 of these guys were able to get in on the pile in into that unit. With their Pig Iron Choppas, 4 attacks apiece plus 1 for the leader, plus their Tuscan Hooves at 4 attacks apiece, both with -1 rend added on because of the big wall. They killed all but 3 of the remaining Graveguard. Wow. We have just decided that that would be it. I think it's a good video to show people to talk about what the Gore Gruntas and what Ironjawz can do. We'll talk about it in the wrap up, but it's over now. The bottom of, or the top of turn 2. That Smash and Basha combined with the Wah, combined with the War Chanters +1 command point, combined with the Mighty Crush, Maw Crusher's ability on an 18-inch bubble to hand out 3 command abilities. This is powerful. This is really, really powerful. We'll talk about it in the wrap-up.
I think they would call that a shellacking.
Wow. I would like to say that's shocking, but it isn't. That is how
I have played against Ironjawz several times in tournaments, and it's always ended up the same way. Maybe not by turn 2 or the top of turn 2, but it's really pretty much I'm just too squishy for all of that rend and all that damage.
I'm hoping GW takes care of it. Gore-Gruntas for 150 points are the most ridiculously priced unit in the entire game. I just put down a couple things with them that just Mighty Destroyers and then Mega Bossy being able to move up to 5 units in the hero phase, which I didn't ever have to do that.
Which you didn't, because that was the one thing I defended against.
Correct.
Was all of that movement,
Correct.
but it didn't help.
That coupled with Smashing and Bashing, which is the ability, almost like Idoneth Deepkin at High Tide, to go one after another.
Yeah.
Any turn to be, even in the opponent's phase.
Yes.
I'll look to see if, I'll correct that on screen if I'm wrong about that, but I think that's in any combat phase it works. Too often it's not led to the opponent's combat phase in games I've been in. Then being able to issue 3 command abilities.
Using
all-out
one command
attack.
point to do all-out attack on 3 different units. And
Or all-out defense.
oh, somebody actually has attacked you?
Yes, I've done that with all-out defense, and it's just, or I've had all-out attack, and then other units, the Mega Boss on foot has done all-out defense on 2 other units. Of course, you can't give a command ability to one unit, more than one command ability to a unit in a phase.
Right.
But it's just in general, or in the shooting phase, all-out defense to 3 units.
Yes.
As I'm getting shot. I've lost with them to the very first weekend I played them, I lost to a SOB player that it was with 3 objectives, and he kicked them back into his end, and I was going to table him, I just couldn't get him on points. He just denied me for points for the first 2 turns,
Yep.
and then I didn't have enough time to get catch up. Lost to a KO player that was a really smart player, and I made a big mistake and put too much right in the heart of Gotrek, and Gotrek took out the Maw Crusher and 6 Gore-Gruntas.
So it was KO plus Gotrek.
Plus Gotrek and a bad move on my part.
Okay.
That right away I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. And then I lost a really, really close game to Brendan and his Archeon. And he's a top-notch player. And I think he would admit he got all the priority rolls at the just critical moments. And it was a very close nail-biter game. But outside of that, I've had more games the way that game just went than games the other way that were even close.
Yeah.
And
it is
that's not fun.
difficult to play a game when you don't actually get to play. In that particular case, that was disheartening that I wasn't able to show what any of the Soulblight could do. Just simply, they never ever got to fight, and that was a little hit on the morale.
I had two games against Stonehorns, against Ogre tribes on Big Beasts, and they moved up with their hunger and everything, and then I just walked in, bam, and the whole army was off the table.
Yeah.
And
see, but that's another one that I don't stack up well against.
You don't do well against
because they have all of those impact hits, and I have 1 wound each, and I just drop like flies on that one.
And I took off the Eat Sleep Wash shirt because I wanted to put on playing Ironjawz or SOB, in my opinion, right now, or getting to Screen Rant's pitch meetings, or something that we love watching on YouTube.
We do.
And we bought the shirt based upon their catchphrase, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Barely an inconvenience.
It's just, I hope something is done that they're not broken armies in the aspect of, if you look at tournaments, it's not SOB and Ironjawz winning every tournament. So there are a lot of different builds winning tournaments, including Brendan one that we went to with Soulblight. But he's a top-notch player. And things have to go your right way. It's just there is so many low-level armies and a group of real high, and then I think Soulblight's somewhere in that middle. And certain rock, paper, scissors they make games that aren't fun. And when I list those things with the Ironjawz, some of this needs to be changed. Oh, I didn't even put on here. The War Chanter's ability not even being a roll.
It's not a roll. There's nothing, no way to combat it, and it's free. It doesn't cost you a command point, anything. Oh, by the way, just take one more damage.
Just plus 1 damage. I'm just going to pick that one.
Big deal.
I mean, I was thinking of a build with more Gore Gruntas, maybe even without a Maw Crusher, and just more War Chanters.
Right.
And just have War Chanters hit them all.
You take 1 damage.
Like Oprah handing out damage, plus 1 damage chance.
But and honestly, that -1 rend. Now I get that it was the WAW, so you only get it one time. You only need it one time. But when you have things hitting at -3 damage,
-3 rend.
I'm sorry, -3 rend, and then you've added the damage, and then like the Maw Crusher had 3 damage each. I mean, when multiple times I'm rolling 12 dice just for my minions, yes. And I didn't even get a chance to save against any of that. It really is disheartening.
And I didn't even get the Mega Boss on foot with the Destroyer.
He wasn't even in there
played
yet.
against at the Open, played against a guy with 10 pink cores, and he walked in with a Destroyer, and he did 30 wounds. And 10 pink cores, if you know, the 10 pinks, then the 20 blues, and the 20 brims, that's 50 wounds. I hit with the Destroyer and Brutes, and all 10 pink cores were gone, all 50 wounds. And it was the last game of the, he had gone, I think, 3-1, or maybe even 4-0 at that point in time. And he said, nobody's taken one of my units of pink cores off the table, and I took all of his pink cores, his 2 units of 10 and a unit of 5 off the table. And it's just then with great saves and 5 wounds apiece in the Gore Gruntas, it's not that much fun. And please don't bring a Gore Grunta Ironjawz list to your local game store and play against people that will not be your friends.
Well, they'll just stop playing against you.
That's not a good ambassador of the game. Our son, we're going to have him take this to some tournaments because he's been playing Skaven and not doing well, and we want him to get some confidence again in the game and maybe learn how to move. This teaches you how to move things on the tabletop. You have to play it smartly.
You do.
It's not just complete plug and play.
It's not.
It's not barely an inconvenience. There can be somewhat of an inconvenience. But if you are somebody who knows tabletop and moving, there's nobody I line up against that I'm going, oh, this is really tough. I mean, this is going to be a challenge, and a tight challenge that I'm not going to win every game with them, but I can tell you, I'm done bringing them to tournaments. I don't want to be that guy. And right now it's too much of a risk of that guy, and I hope GW makes a change with that.
They need some points increases, and personally, I think that the free advantage for the extra damage is a little extreme.
I think, and I tell people,
and that you can use both of them for that, right? So
yes.
It's anything else you can only use one, and then you're just saying, oh, just give it to everybody.
What potentially could happen is that if they increase the cost of the Gore Gruntas by, let's say, 20 points a unit, I'm going to lose a unit of Gore Gruntas, and I'll probably drop off the Madcap Shaman. And when I do all that, I might be able to take those points, and can I get another War Chanter? And now all of a sudden now I'm thinking that my army's worse, and it might get better because now I can hit the 2 units of 6 and the Maw Crusher. So maybe a suggestion in the long run is only that War Chanter ability used once maximum per turn. Turn it into a command ability that costs a command point.
Something at least. I
don't know, but if you're fighting against Ironjawz and you have long strike crossbows or sentinels or something, kill the War Chanters. Those Gore Grunters going to 1 damage instead of 2 damage a pop with those number of dice. Drastic difference.
Soulblight not having any shots whatsoever. There is nothing in my particular build that shoots. And as a matter of fact, it's only the zombie dragon and the terrorgeist that even shoot in the entire book. But not having that, there's no way to get to those backline things.
No,
to take that out.
Tracy took best death at Dragonfall. Okay, she took best death at Dragonfall. Was in the running in another tournament for that. And so you're doing very well with the Soulblight. But we put those 2 lists up against each other, 20 games. I'm saying
20.
Right now, I'm probably winning all 20.
Yeah.
Even if priority roll goes your way, even if everything goes your way, I think I'm winning all 20.
Had I redone that and moved everything up, it would have been exactly the same.
It might have been
exactly
worse
the
because
same.
I might have been able to get more units in.
Yeah.
But so all in all, we hope you had fun with it. We hope you guys have fun
Right,
watching
and
us
you
play.
get to see what Ironjawz can do, which is a lot.
And hopefully a couple strategy things along the way.
Sure,
But
sure.
once again, thank you very much for watching. If you do comment on this, and also when we post it on our Partner of War Facebook page, we'll put all those people in for a random pick. Then when we pick you, we'll ask for your address and send you out 10 Partners of War dice.
Right. So you got to see them well displayed tonight.
Thank you very much. We hope to get some more out in the future. We're not going to commit to anything yet.
Right.
But we do hope so. And we hope you like the shortened format because that's going to help with both filming and editing, which will increase the chance of getting more videos out. And with that, I am Steve.
And I'm Tracy.
And we are the Partners at War.
Keep playing.
We're still partners even after a butt kicking like that.